Hi everyone, I'm here at the Bible reading. I hope you guys are having a good day. Let me see here, I'm getting off this page real fast. Is that your phone doing that or mine? Why does it do that? What a weird sound. You guys hear that sound? I have no idea what that is. It's been doing that for a few days. Okay, I'm just getting off this page to get the Bible reading pulled up better. Okay, it disappeared. It always disappeared on me. Okay, so I'm going to start off with some poetry. Today we're going to read poems about love, where there's love in the title. Let's put it that way. So we have 3, I believe. Yeah. Okay, this one is called Where There Is Love. Where there is love, the heart is light. Where there is love, the day is bright. Where there is love, there is a song to help when things are going wrong. When there is love, there is a smile to make all things seem more worthwhile. Where there is love, there's a quiet place, a tranquil place where turmoils cease. Love changes darkness into light and makes the heart take wingless flight. Oh, blessed are they who walk in love. They also walk with God above. And when you walk with God each day and kneel together when you pray, your marriage will be truly blessed, and God will be your daily guest. And love that once seemed yours alone, God gently blends into His own. And I thought that was really good. That's the first time I'm reading these ones with you guys. Okay, and this one is called The Power of Love, which reminds me, there was a song that was called that years ago when I was probably a teenager maybe. Power of Love. I remember it. I staying with my granny, and you know, it's an old house. It didn't have like doors on the bedrooms and stuff. So the bedroom I slept in was right there, and then hers was just right there in the other door entrance. Anyway, I'd hear her radio every morning, and that song was like almost always playing on the radio when it came on. And I always thought, oh, that's such a beautiful song. Okay. Anyways, this reminded me of that song. There is no thinking person who can stand untouched today and view the world around us drifting downward to decay, without feeling deep within them a silent, unnamed dread, wondering how to stem the chaos that lies frequently ahead. But the problems we are facing cannot humanly be solved, for our diplomatic strategy only gets us more involved, and our skillful ingenuity, our technology and science can never change a sinful heart filled with hatred and defiance. So our problems keep on growing every hour of every day, as man vainly tries to solve them in his own self-willful way. But man is powerless alone to clean up the world outside until his own polluted soul is clean and free inside. For the amazing power of love is beyond all comprehension, and it alone can heal this world of its hatred and dissension. Amen. Love can, and love is what we should be spreading with one another, not hate and judgment. Because remember, only God can judge. Okay, and this last one for our Bible reading poem is, What is Love? What is love? No words can define it. It's something so great, only God could design it. Wonder of wonders beyond man's conception, and only in God can love find true perfection. For love means much more than small words can express. For what man calls love is so very much less than the beauty and depth and the true riches of God's gift to mankind, his compassionate love. For love has become a word that's misused, perverted, distorted, and often abused to speak of light romance or some affinity for a passing attraction that is seldom much more than a mere interlude of inflamed fascination, a romantic fling of no lasting duration. But love is enduring and patient and kind. It judges all things with the heart, not the mind, and love can transform the most commonplace into beauty and splendor and sweetness and grace. For love is unselfish, giving more than it takes, and no matter what happens, love never forsakes. It's faithful and trusting and always believing, guiltless and honest and never deceiving. Yes, love is beyond what man can define, for love is immortal and God's gift is divine. Amen. All right, guys, and that was our poems for our Bible reading today. We'll keep doing that until we finish this book. I'm reading for the Bible study as well, so if you watch both videos, you'll eventually hear the whole book done there. It's just a short one. Beautiful poems, though. Okay, so today we're going to be reading Luke chapter 12, verses 35 through 59. We're still continuing on with Psalm 78, where the Hebrews were in the desert. God rescued them from Egypt and is taking them to the promised land, and they kept rebelling against him, remember. And it took 40 years to get to the promised land because of their sinning and turning on God constantly. God's like, this generation's going to die out. This generation will not enter the promised land, but the next generation will. And they did. And that's where Joshua took over after Moses. Just 1 second, guys. The phone's over there. I can't get it. I'll wait for it to stop ringing and we'll continue. I knew I should have made calls before I started. Sorry. Sherm's in the bathroom right now. Okay. And so that'll be Psalm 78, verses 56 through 64. And we'll be reading our Proverbs, which is Proverbs Chapter 12, verse 24. Are you about ready to come in? Alright, so we'll go ahead and start. We'll be talking about watchfulness, not peace, but division, and interpreting the times in Luke. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with Luke. Be dressed, ready for service, and keep your lamps burning, like servants waiting for their master to return from a wedding banquet, so that when he comes and knocks, they can immediately open the door for him. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them watching when he comes. Truly, I tell you, he will dress himself to serve. He will dress himself to serve, will have them recline at the table, and will come and wait on him. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them ready, even if he comes in the middle of the night or toward daybreak. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. You also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect him. This, of course, is Jesus telling them about when he is sent back to heaven, or from heaven, when he is sent back from heaven. at the end of the world to get people, okay? To get the righteous, and the wicked will be sent to hell, fire, for eternity. So this is what he's telling them. You don't know when it will be, so always be ready. Don't put off being good. I'll be good tomorrow. I'm going to do this today. You know, I'm going to do this bad thing today, but tomorrow I'll be good. You might not make it till tomorrow. Jesus might come back in the middle of you doing that bad thing. You could never be promised a tomorrow. You're never promised a tomorrow. You're never promised another second, another minute, another hour, another day. So don't take life for granted. Love people while you're here. And try to bring those souls to Jesus while you're here. Because you never know when that breath could be your last. People drop dead suddenly, you know. You don't have to have an illness. And you know, years and years drawn out before you die. You could have a heart attack and die right there on the spot. You could have a stroke. You could be shot. You could be stabbed. You could be strangled. Anything could happen at any moment. Like I watched some of these videos of these where people get in these car accidents on the roads and stuff, and they film them with their camera. These dash cams they have. And like this guy was driving behind this truck, and a hammer flew right through his glass, his windshield. Glass cracked, busted everywhere. He's lucky he didn't get hit with it, because that would have killed him. So you never know what could happen. You could be in a car wreck. You could get hit by a hammer, hit by a piece of wood that flies out the back of somebody's truck. You don't know. So that's what Jesus is trying to tell people. Peter asked, Lord, are you telling this parable to us or to everyone? The Lord answered, who then is the faithful and wise manager, whom the master puts in charge of his servants to give them their food allowance at the proper time? It will be good for that servant whom the master finds doing so when he returns. Truly I tell you, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But suppose the servant says to himself, my master is taking a long time in coming. And then he begins to beat the other servants, acting like, you know, he's in charge. He can do what he wants, and starts beating them. And he was a servant. But since the master's not going, he's going to take advantage. So, and he then begins to beat the other servants, both men and women, and to eat and drink and get drunk. The master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and an hour that he is not aware of. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the unbelievers. Sent to hell. He was taken over acting like he was the master when the master stepped out for a time. Don't do that. Stay good all the time. All the time. It's like Jesus is saying, you don't know when I'll be back. Don't let me catch you doing something you know you're not supposed to do. Let me catch you doing what is right. The servant who knows the master's will and does not get ready or does not do what the master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. I have come to bring fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. But I have a baptism to undergo, and what constraint I am under until it is completed. Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on, there will be 5 in one family, divided against each other. 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. He said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, immediately you say, it's going to rain, and it does. And when the south wind blows, you say, it's going to be hot, and it is. Hypocrites! You know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. How is it that you don't know how to interpret this present time? Why don't you judge for yourselves what is right? As you are going with your adversary to the magistrate, try hard to be reconciled on the way, or your adversary may drag you off to the judge, and the judge turn you over to the officer, and the officer throw you into prison. I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. And that is where we're stopping with Luke today. And I believe we're finishing up Psalm 78 today. So let's continue on with the Hebrews in the desert. Turning to God, turning away from God. Turning to God, turning away from God. Constantly. But they put God to the test and rebelled against the Most High. They did not keep His statutes like their ancestors. They were disloyal and faithless, as unreliable as a faulty bow. They angered Him with their high places. They aroused His jealousy with their idols. When God heard them, He was furious. He rejected Israel completely. He abandoned the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent He had set up among humans. He sent the ark of His might into captivity, His splendor into the hands of the enemy. Ark of the Covenant. It had the tablets, the stone tablets, that were the 10 Commandments that God gave Moses up on the hill, on the mountain. Fire consumed their young men, and their young women had no wedding songs. Their priests were put to the sword, and their widows could not weep. Alright guys, and that's where we're stopping with Psalm 78. I believe that's the end, but I could be wrong. Because if it's not the end, I don't know why they're only giving us a few verses, but you know how that is sometimes. Okay, and ending today's Bible reading is Proverbs Chapter 12, verse 24, which says, diligent hands will rule, but laziness ends in forced labor. We don't want that. Okie dokie guys, that was our Bible reading for today. I hope it touched your hearts. Let me go down through the names of our prayer requests. Please pray for my mom, Rhonda Karshner. Please pray for Sherm. Please pray for a dear friend of mine, her sister-in-law, Lori. She recently lost her husband last month. And they were together all the time. They had never been apart a day in their lives. And you know it's going to be very, very hard on her. So please keep Lori in your prayers. Please pray for Cindy and Jim Welsh, Dora Carper, Dean Daddy, the Burke family, the Doles family, Elizabeth Jeffries, Judy Thompson, Layla and her son Emil, Levi Dempsey. He was sent to a rehabilitation center yesterday. So he is out of the hospital and in rehabilitation. Danette Rager, Joyce Light, and Abby and Jimmy Myers. Alright guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let's bring those souls to Jesus, and God willing, we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another Bible reading. Bye guys, God bless.